Hello, I'm Brittany Marshall. On this edition of Commuter Connections, Maryland's Secretary of Transportation Greg Slater and Deputy Secretary Earl Lewis help us celebrate MDOT's 50th anniversary. And in Baltimore, we'll take a tour of the new state-of-the-art Kirk Avenue Bus Division, and then head to the Northwest Division to see how the Bus Wash Water Reclamation Project works. We've got the details on the new partnership between MTA and the Port Discovery Children's Museum, and we'll show you the new exhibits at the Maryland Center for History and Culture, all on this edition of Commuter Connections. The Maryland Department of Transportation is celebrating its 50th anniversary. For half a century, it's played a pivotal role in literally moving Maryland into the future. To give us some perspective, here's Maryland Secretary of Transportation, Greg Slater.
I've seen the workforce change. The skill sets that are in our workforce are very different than they were. 20 years ago, one of my first jobs was to integrate new technology into this organization. I've seen the new technologies change and evolve. I've seen disruptors and new innovations come in that have really changed the way we do business, but also have seen us grow into more and more of an organization that is not just about transportation infrastructure and not just about transportation operations. We're more than that. We're about economic development and customer experience and equity and mobility and access to jobs. And it's just more about being part of the overall state and how we can make the state successful. The people that we serve, frankly, they don't care whether they're on a state road, a county road, whether they're on a commuter rail, or whether they're on the Washington, D.C. metro system, or whether they're on the Baltimore bus system. They want to get to where they want to get to, and it's important for us to think about how that system is integrated. But when it comes to personalized service, I believe that's where we're headed as an industry. I believe that we need to really start thinking about how we can integrate, communicate, have two-way conversations and two-way, really kind of interactive tools and system technologies for the personal user. And so, you think about where we've come from over the last couple of years, and we've integrated real-time tools for people to understand when their bus is going to come, or when the train's going to come. We've put message out on our message boards, travel times, and those types of things. But as we go continually down that path, we have to think about that personalized communication and that personalized service so that the individual traveler or individual freight carrier can reach out to us, give us their perspective, and get the information that they need to use our system. The successes that we're having now are because of the planning that we did 10 years ago and 20 years ago and 30 years ago. The foundation, the programs that are successful today, I look at our TSMO program, our asset management program, our bridge program, all of those are successful today because of the planning that was started 15, 20 years ago and the foundation that was laid. So we're laying that foundation again. If we're going to work towards something, we have to understand what it is and have a clear vision of what that is. And so that's what the blueprint is. It's all about the system. Now, how we get there is all about strategic planning and how we shape our organization. When you think about shaping our organization, it's about delivering that big infrastructure. But it's also about having that customer focus, personalized customer focus on what we're doing, and really developing our asset management program, the successes that we had at SHA for bridges and pavement and those types of things, expanding that out to port infrastructure and airport infrastructure and transit infrastructure, and then really thinking about what that modernized MDOT looks like. So the blueprint is going to be a vision for what our system will look like in 10 years or 20 years or 30 years or 40 years. But then you think about what are our customers going to need? What are our travelers going to need in 10 years and 20 years and 30 years and 40 years? Integrating that back in. And then what does MDOT need to be to deliver for those customers like we did for the last 50 years?
And now we're chatting with Deputy Secretary of Transportation Earl Lewis, who's played an important role in MDOT's success, but also has a personal MDOT story as a Baltimore native. He's here to talk about MDOT's legacy through his own personal experiences. Deputy Secretary Lewis, thank you so much for joining us on the show. How are you?
Just fine. My pleasure.
And you have a very personal experience with MDOT as a Baltimore native. Tell us about that experience growing up in the area.
Well, I was born in Baltimore City, but grew up in Baltimore County. My early years, my parents lived in Turner Station, which is a predominantly African American community in southeast Baltimore County, not that far from the Key Bridge. And I remember being 4 or 5 years old, riding, I think at the time it was the number 10 bus. MTA wasn't MTA yet because it was before MDOT got formed in 1971. We're talking 1965, 66. And my mother and grandmother would go to the bus stop, and we'd get on the bus and ride the bus to Highlandtown. And Highlandtown was a big shopping area back then where you had a Heck Company. I believe there may have been a Hochul Cones too, as well as and Epstein's was a big discount store that sold clothing and household goods. And I do remember those early buses. It was really smelly in the back. I do remember sitting in the back of the bus and feeling surrounded by exhaust.
And we've come so far.
Yes,
we've come
yes.
so far, right?
The modern buses that we ride in today are really nice and more comfortable seating. You can sit wherever you want to, where there's a vacant seat. Compared to the early 60s. And really, the operators are fantastic in all my experiences riding MTA service. Always helpful and ready to do what they can to make their customers feel welcome on the service.
And from taking the bus as a child to Deputy Secretary of Transportation, I mean, how tell me about that journey that got you to MDOT in 2003?
I went to college at the University of Virginia and graduated in 1983. And after that, I worked in the utility business for my first half of my professional career for about 20 years in both Connecticut and for Baltimore Gas and Electric here in Maryland. And I had a career transition. 2001, I got an MBA part-time from the University of Maryland Smith School in 1990 while I worked for BG&E. I was able to have enough funding to send a kid to college, pay the mortgage, and still go get a second master's degree from the Smith School, May of 2003. And I think I graduated on a Friday, and I started to work on a Monday at MDOT TSO, working for John Contestable on May 19th of 2003. And I was like a senior analyst. I did rail safety oversight, which actually was my first experience with transit. I actually went to several training courses to prepare me for that job. There were like 4 or 5 week-long classes that you attended to get certified to be able to do rail safety oversight. So I got involved, and at that time we were doing the safety certification for the double track project tied to the light rail system. About a year and a half on from that, I was promoted to be an assistant secretary. I still had contact with MTA because I was also doing Homeland Security grant projects. So we were applying there was a new program at the time, and we could get millions of dollars for security projects, help pay for law enforcement for the Maryland Transit Administration and Maryland Transit Administration Police. So not that long after that, I guess maybe a couple years, in 2006, about mid-year 2006, I was asked by Secretary Flanagan at the time to move to a position as Deputy Administrator Transit Operations at MTA. Happened to be an election year at the time, so I was able to go on. I think Governor O'Malley won that election. I had started with the Earl administration, but even though I spent maybe about 6-7 months in that role as deputy administrator, they asked me to stay on because I was somebody that got things done. I was also bringing in millions of dollars as a program manager and writing the grant applications for the Homeland Security grant program. In my 9.5 years at MTA, where I eventually became Deputy Chief Safety Officer, working for Bernadette Bridges back about a little over a decade ago, I brought in about $75 million working with partners throughout MTA for things like the cameras that we see on the platforms at Metro Subway, some of the light rail stations, as well as some of the MARC stations on the Penn line, Brunswick line, I believe one station on the Camden line.
Wow. So you've really been a big pivotal part in MTA, what it is today.
Yeah, MTA is a really great organization. It's complex. It's got a lot of moving parts, literally.
Yes.
And it's very challenging organization to be a part of, but I was hopeful of contributing during my time there. I went to MDOT TSO as Deputy Secretary about 5.5 years ago, January 20th of 2016. We still had the same number of TBUs when I started at MDOT and while I was at MTA that we had now, but we continued to maintain and grow our infrastructure to be able to support a economically vibrant state of Maryland. And again, MDOT is a statewide agency, whether you're talking Baltimore metropolitan area, the Washington metropolitan area, the suburbs, Prince George's, Montgomery, Frederick, Charles County, the Eastern Shore or Western Maryland. We serve the entire state, and we strive to work with our local jurisdictions to meet the needs of their citizens and their businesses. But also we look at the transportation network as a statewide network. It's not pieces. It's not a choice between seaports or airports or roads or transit. We have to do it all, and it all has to fit together really well so we can continue to grow and connect people to life's opportunities, as our mission statement says. I would say it's really a humbling time to be in a leadership role at MDOT during our 50th anniversary. The real reason they formed MDOT back in the early 70s was to allow all the transportation modalities to coordinate in a multimodal transportation system, and that would be in the best interest of ensuring that all those pieces fit together as Maryland's economy grows, and actually the transportation network can help facilitate continued growth and opportunities for people and businesses throughout the state.
It's all about working together for a better Maryland.
Exactly. It's all about working together for better Maryland, for all of our citizens and our stakeholders.
Well, Deputy Secretary Lewis, we thank you so much for being here. Thank you for journeying us and taking us through the last 50 years and a look at the future. Another 50 years of great service. We appreciate you and thank you so much for being here.
Oh, you're welcome.
Coming up next, an exciting look at the new Kirk Avenue bus division. Stay with us. The new Kirk Avenue bus division is officially open. The $148 million project increases MTA's efficiency and provides a healthier environment for the surrounding community. To give you the full perspective of this building, we take you inside for a tour of the Transportation and Storage Building. 1,
2, 3. My name is Constancia Varner, Superintendent of Kirk Division, and welcome to our new home. This is a transportation storage area that houses approximately 175 coaches. And so this is an area where the operators will come in through the door. They'll come through all the way around the side, and they'll go to the vaulting area. And the vaulting area is when the fare is collected. They have to make sure that the fare is taken out of the box every day and put back into the bus so it can go out for the next service. So once the coach is vaulted, then it comes to the fuel station. And the fuel station will check all the fluids in the coach to make sure that they're at the high level that it should be. And then they'll come in and we have cleaners. They'll actually clean the bus to make sure everything is clean in the interior. And then the buses are filled. We might have up to 100 buses that's pulling through to get the buses fueled because we got to get them ready for service the next day. This is their final stop. Once the buses are washed, then they're put in the lanes and placed for the first pullout, which begins at 2:43 in the morning. Let's go upstairs and see where the operators report to work and every morning to start their day. So we're on the third floor now. This is the area where the operators report to work. They go up to where the dispatchers are. They receive their assignment. They check in to make sure their license and adopt medical cards are valid. And this area right here is called the assembly room. And the operators come here if they want to relax after they've been out, and they're on their break if they want to have their lunch, if they want to just converse with the other operators out here. This is just their area that they can just relax and de-stress. We have this training area for them. They'll come here and they have to get recertified every 3 years. We have everything on the premises. We don't have to send them to another location. We're really excited about that, and they are too. We also will have different departments in here. We'll have the safety department. The IT department will control all the technology, the new technology we have in the building. And we also have, if we need to have the police department, they have an office for it. Throughout the last 4 years, they would come by and I'll say to them, well, you know, we're gonna move in there soon. And they keep saying to me, sure, Miss Costancia. So with that being said, no, this is a wonderful place, and we're looking forward to make all kinds of type of memories here. So we are the first one to move in this building, so it's really exciting.
M.MTA takes seriously its role as a steward of the environment. Recently, those efforts were recognized with a Maryland Quality Initiative Award for the Northwest Bus Wash Water Reclamation Project. To show us exactly how this project works, we take a trip to the Northwest Bus Division.
My name is Abdul Bari. I am with Maryland Transit Administration's Facilities Engineering and ADA Department. We will be going through the operation of a newly installed bus wash reclaim system. Behind me, we have 3 wash bays of the bus wash system. We just used the wash bay number 2 for washing a bus. The water from the bus goes to the trench drains, and from the trench drains, it goes to the water reclamation system. This is the newly installed bus wash reclamation system at Northwest Bus Division. Bus wash reclamation system consists of 3 water storage pits, 3 settling tanks, automatic self-cleaning backwash filter, control valves, pumps, and control systems. Water from storage pit number 1 overflows to storage pit number 2. Water from storage pit number 2 is pumped to settling tank number 1. Sodium hypochlorite is a biocide that's added to settling tank number 1 to kill any fungi, viruses, and bacteria. Water from settling tank number 1 moves to settling tanks 2 and 3. Water filtration process starts in storage pits and continues into these settling tanks as soil and non-water particles settle at the bottom of these storage pits and settling tanks. The filtered water from settling tank number 3 is pumped to this automatic backwash self-cleaning filter. This innovative and sustainable water filter is used to remove non-water particles of 200 microns and larger in size. The filtered and fully reclaimed water moves from water filter to storage pit number 3. In the final step, this fully reclaimed water is pumped from storage pit number 3 to reclaimed water tanks in the wash bay. There are 3 tanks in the wash bay ready to dispense reclaimed water for the next bus wash. This system saves about 8 million gallons of water per year. The savings amount to around $100,000 per year, and the simple payback for this project is about 3 years. This project did win 2020 Maryland Quality Initiative Award in the Sustainability and Environmental Excellence category.
Coming up, you'll learn about a new partnership between MTA and the Port Discovery Children's Museum in an effort to increase access to the museum through transit. MTA has partnered with the Port Discovery Children's Museum to make transit even more accessible to the community. To tell us more about this partnership is Emmanuel Figueroa, the Director of Community Relations for the museum.
Emmanuel, thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
So those in Baltimore, the kids know Port Discovery is a great place to go. But for those who haven't been, tell us a little bit about it.
So Port Discovery features 3 floors of hand-on interactive exhibits in which kids can come with their family and leave learning a lot. For example, we have a sky climber that is 3 floors high, in which kids can climb all the way up to a cloud that is hanging from a rooftop and then slide down the storm slide. The kids learn a lot about how to problem solve, how strong they are, and they get to conquer all their fears. And another thing that kids can do, if they are more into arts, we have a BG&E art studio in which kids can learn how to do some arts and crafts and be messy, leave the mess here, and we will clean it up. And we also have a traveling exhibit in which kids will be learning all about animation. Kids can learn how to do some storyboard. They learn how to draw and build a storyline and also do some stock animation.
So it's all about play and learning. I love that.
Yes.
Speaking of play, you guys have the Playmakers program in which you partnered with MTA. So can you tell us a little bit about that program?
Any Maryland family currently receiving nutritional assistance, either with SNAP or WIC, and has a valid identification, can come to the museum any day that the museum is open for $3 per person, up to 5 tickets, which means that a family of 5 can come to the museum for $15 total. And this offer is available every day that the museum is open. And as part of Playmakers, any family that cannot afford transportation to the museum can get a charm card that is preloaded with day fare that they can use for the light rail, metro, and CityLink buses.
So we talk about the Playmakers program, its connection and partnership with transit and MTA. But tell us, how can you get to the Port Discovery through transit?
The easiest way is that Port Discovery Children's Museum is located really close to the Shot Tower metro stop. So if families are taking the metro, that's the best way to get here. But if families prefer to take the bus, the CityLink orange, brown, navy all have stops that are within walking distance to our front entrance.
And how much does it cost for people just to go to the Port Discovery? What's the regular cost of admission?
So the regular cost of admission to Port Discovery Children's Museum is $19.95 per ticket, and that's for any guest 2 years and older. And most of the people that come, we recommend that they become members. A membership starts at $140, and it pays for itself for a family of 4 within 2 visits. So an investment on a membership, either getting your grandparents or other relatives to give that gift as a birthday present, is a good gift that keeps on giving.
And for people to find more information, how they can get there through transit, the Playmakers program, all of the things that you guys have for children inside the Port Discovery, where can they find more information?
The best address for that is portdiscovery.org/Playmakers, or you can always give us a phone call. Our phone number is 410-864-2744.
So thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now we spotlight another educational and family fun attraction in Baltimore. It's the Maryland Center for History and Culture. To give us a look inside this facility, we talked to its Communications and Marketing Director, Jennifer Michael.
Jennifer, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
So tell us about what exactly is the Maryland Center for History and Culture?
Sure. The Maryland Center for History and Culture is the oldest operating cultural institution in the state. We are a nonprofit organization, and our mission is to collect, preserve, and share Maryland history with the community. In our museum, we have 10 exhibition galleries that showcase Maryland and American history, but we are much more than just a history museum. We also house a research library inside our building, and two of the most popular reasons people visit the library is to research their family history or the history of their home. In total, we have 7 million books, documents, manuscripts, and photographs, and 350,000 objects in our museum and library collections that span hundreds of years of Maryland history. We use this collection as a teaching tool, not only for our museum and library visitors, but also for students and teachers statewide and nationwide. We offer on-site and virtual field trips, educational trunks that travel to classrooms, and many digital learning resources that can be downloaded from our website, mdhistory.org.
And you talked about a lot of people coming in to talk about the library. So could you talk a little bit about the importance of that library?
Our library is used by many researchers who come working on scholarly publications, people just interested in Maryland history. We have a main reading room that can be accessed Wednesday through Saturday, and a special collections part of our collection that is by appointment only.
And now onto the museum side, what are some of the exhibits that are on display now?
Discover Maryland is one of our newest exhibitions. It does just what its title says. It offers a space for discovery about Maryland through artwork, photographs, historical documents, and everyday objects. The exhibition tells the state's story from its founding in 1634 through today. It specifically looks at the geography of the state and how it has driven its industry, the population, and the identity of Marylanders, and it also explores the arts and culture of Maryland. It's a great exhibition for kids, for people of all ages, especially our younger visitors.
And you also have another exhibit, Flickering Treasures. What is that all about?
The full name of that exhibition is Flickering Treasures, Rediscovering Baltimore's Forgotten Movie Theaters. It opened in September 2020. This exhibition is a showcase of movie theaters in Baltimore through the years. It features historic photographs of theaters within our collection, paired with contemporary photographs by Baltimore Sun photographer Amy Davis. Amy has been photographing the city's theaters for many years, capturing their beauty and their decay due to social and economic change. Amy has also published her photographs in a book titled Flickering Treasures, which is where the title of this exhibition came from. And this exhibition really captures the nostalgia of that time when going to the movies was a part of the city's social fabric.
You talk about the rich history of just the center in itself. Can you speak on how long it's existed and some of that history?
We were originally founded as the Maryland Historical Society in 1844. When a small group of community leaders gathered in what was Baltimore's post office at the time. And last year, in 2020, we underwent a rebranding to become the Maryland Center for History and Culture to better reflect our mission to serve as a place where the community can gather to make discoveries and connect with Maryland's history and its culture.
So for those who do not know, how can you get to the center and how much does it cost to get in?
We are located at 610 Park Avenue in Baltimore's Mount Vernon Cultural District. For admission, the museum and our museum store are open Wednesday through Saturday, 10 to 5, and the library is open also Wednesday through Saturday, 10 to 3. Our special collections of our library, you have to make an appointment. The museum admission is $9 for adults and $7 for seniors, and library admission is $6.
And how can people get there through transit?
So we are centrally located in Baltimore City. We're close to the Metro subway link and the MTA's number 94 bus stop.
Well, where can people find more information on the Maryland Center for History and Culture?
One of the best places is mdhistory.org. That's our website. It's a new website of ours. You can also call us at 410-685-3750.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to what the center has to offer in the future.
Thank you so much.
And that brings us to the end of another edition of Commuter Connections. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.